Mom deserves the best, and there's no better place to shop for Mother's Day than Whole Foods Market. They're your destination for unbeatable savings, from premium gifts to show-stopping flowers and irresistible desserts. Start by saving 33% with Prime on all body care and candles. Then get a 15-stem bunch of tulips for just $9.99 each with Prime. Round out Mom's menu with festive rosé, irresistible berry chantilly cake, and more special treats. Come celebrate Mother's Day at Whole Foods Market.
Tonight, I celebrate my love for absolutely nothing, 'cause I've had it and I want to kill somebody, but I won't, because Elliot Stabler comes back on Thursday.
Elliot Stabler does come back on Thursday. So you have to stay around for them. You don't want to be watching it from Rikers Island. I have a feeling you don't get to control the television.
I think they will take me to the Brooklyn House's attention. I'm kind of hoping for that. Ay, Dios mío. I just want to say one thing to everybody. We are doomed as a society and a culture. That's all I want to say. We're doomed. Doomed!
This is why I feel like we're doomed. I have two quick things. I'm not going to make this a somber moment, but...
I'll introduce the show, and then we'll tell you why we're doomed.
Okay. Hey, welcome back. I'm going to let you finish, Court, namely, blah, blah, blah. So...
He's so black, I'm so white.
Yeah. Can I just say, I saw,
Nothing good ever comes when you start, can I just say, and then you breathe.
I always try to think that people are inherently good.
Now you say this every week. You don't believe that. You wouldn't have to convince yourself.
Because I just, I've been really not watching the news. I'm just like, I just need to focus away from the news. Okay. But I just saw two things that really disturbed me. I saw a man of color attacking an Asian woman in Hell's Kitchen in front of some kind of a building, I'm assuming it's an apartment building, where there were two big men standing inside just watching. And as this man is beating this woman, knocks her to the ground, kicking her in the head, when he walks away, the big security guard just walks over to the front of the building and doesn't even help. He just closes the door.
Nice. Okay. Next.
No, hold on. I just want to say, and then when you see the footage of that, and that is a man of color, I'm like, we're at the start of this George Floyd trial. We're seeing bills go across the country where they're really trying to suppress voting rights for people of color. And this is what we're fucking doing? This is what we're doing? Then I see a man beating the shit out of an Asian man on the packed train. They're putting him in the sleeper hold, and I can see a bunch of men in the car, and no one helps.
I think the moral of this story is men are scum. Moving on.
I mean, no.
There it is.
Well, to me, it's not as simple as that, because now I think the divide and conquer shit has really kind of, that poison is taken hold. It's like you get minorities fighting each other, working class people fighting each other, and then you've got this 1% thriving. And I'm really, I don't know, Amy, I want to think people are inherently good, but okay. I'm really starting to feel like I just don't know anymore.
Well, speaking of inherently good, how about that Lil Nas X sucking up to Satan? Literally.
That's kind of a really shitty segue, but okay.
I know.
I mean, that's how you're answering the statement that I put to you, Lil Nas X.
I don't know. I think, no.
You think people are inherently good? Am I crazy? Am I living in this fantasy world where I think that people are inherently good?
I honestly, I don't know. I'll be very honest with you. But I think there's always been bad people. I think people are inherently good, yes.
You do?
Yeah, I mean, but I base that on absolutely nothing but of the fact that I base it on the fact that I know inherently good people, but I think that people have a propensity for bad and for evil, and they're easily persuaded, and this gets back to the fact that I think people are inherently fucking stupid. That's what I think they are.
There's a lot of that, too. And speaking of inherently, well, if you like archangels, Satan, pole dancing, bulges, crotch licking,
wigs, unbelievable wigs a popping,
male nudity, I mean, there's so much.
There's so much. References to art films.
Just like if you want.
Everything.
I mean, there's just so much.
If you only, in your jam-packed multitasking day, only have 3, thank God he makes short songs, I'll give him that. If you only have 3.5 minutes to get every fucking psychological, sexual, spiritual, cultural, gender reference known to mankind, then, ladies and gentlemen, the new
Montero, call me by your name. Let me just say that.
Oh God.
Let me just say that.
Say it. Okay,
now here's going to be the thing that some might find quite shocking. But
I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing because I don't even.
I even laugh at me with this. Because I really am not a person, I think that art, I think you should go everywhere with your art. And I think you have the right to go everywhere with your art.
Right.
Years ago in the Catholic school have kind of put a little bit of that thing in me where I don't really fuck with the devil stuff that much. I gotta be honest with you.
It's an understandable fallback position, seeing as how your entire religious upbringing was shaped by "you will go to hell."
And burning it eternally.
I mean, understandable.
But
happy Holy Week, by the way. Happy Holy Week, everybody.
And then there's that. It's like, what's happening?
Perfect timing for the video, by the way. Holy Week. Yeah. He released it on Holy Week. He's no dummy.
What I love about it is, and his statement is, it's like, these are all of the things that you guys have been putting in my head since I was a young teenager, that I should hate myself. I'm going to go to hell. All of the things that you want us to feel about ourselves, I'm taking that and throwing it at you. So for the art of it, bravo.
Yeah.
I watched it once. I don't need to watch it again because I don't really do satanic stuff, even in a playful way. But I get it. Yeah. I understand why he did it. Yeah. Bravo for having the balls to be a young. Because listen, having young, white, queer, outspoken artists, especially the young ones. We've been having that for a long time. But this is the first one. We have all the other boys like Tyler, the Creator, and what's this other one, maybe the kid from the internet. But it's always like, I'm bisexual, I'm this. It's always like this weird line.
I'm gender fluid.
All of these things. This is the first time we have this kid who's just straight up here is the black queerness. Times 10. You know what I mean?
Black queerness and mainstream. See, I mean, there has been Big Frida and Katie Red and stuff like that, but this is a former #1 top-selling single of the fucking year guy. So this is put out kids' books. Everybody loves him. He's adorable. Yeah, I mean, I watched the video twice, Courtney, because that's how dedicated I am. Because the first time I was like, what am I watching here? And I don't mean that in a bad way.
No,
I'm just
it's a lot to take.
No, there's a lot.
Watch it again.
There's a lot. This video was made for the avid edit ADD generation, because I'm like, oh my God, he's in a Marie Antoinette wig. Oh my God, there's 3 people in Marie Antoinette wig. Oh my God, he's pole dancing. Oh my God, is that really his body? Oh my God, he's basically twerking on Satan. Oh my God, he kills Satan. What's happening? Okay, so yes, I too admire him for that. Here's my problem with it. I mean, color me crazy, Courtney. The song sucks. It's like I don't even remember the song. What's going on in the song?
I've been speaking to a lot of people who love the song.
Yeah, but I don't get, I mean, it's all over the place. But here's the thing. He is not, at this point, he is a provocateur. He's a marketing genius, or whoever is helping him market. And considering the fact that he has gotten as far as he has on the strength, basically, of one song, he is still riding the Old Town Road, you know.
Well, so not after this. This is
it. This is it. Yeah, he just lost his invitation to the Kids' Choice Awards.
Except now, who knows, right? Because the song is #1 everywhere. It's #1 on Spotify, #1 on YouTube, #1 on iTunes. He's like, it's already at, I believe, 40. I looked this morning. 4 days in, 42 million views.
Well, because you have to watch it several times, they go, what the fuck?
And the thing is, even the people who hate it, who are screaming, are all watching it because you got to watch it because they want to talk about it. So, and the thing is, the smartest people in the whole situation has been Columbia Records because,
oh my God, genius.
They just put it out. He made his one statement about it. Let everybody else talk about it. They're just stay out of it and count up the coins from all of these streaming dollars of everybody
I know.
listening and watching it. Just sit back very quietly and go cha-ching, cha-ching.
Well, I will say that I have seen people, you know, who are friends of mine, industry people, whatever, and I say this with no disrespect to people's religion, and I do understand that traditionally the black church is more conservative, apples to apples, and I have seen people being very, very offended by this, but what someone had said is, you should be as offended by the fact that he has to do this, that he has to, as a young queer man, be this fucking in your face. And so if it instigates as a piece of art, it's like, all right, I got it. You're throwing everything at the wall. We got it. It's shock value. I got it. Okay. But as a political and cultural statement, who would have ever thought the kid who did Old Town Road would be suddenly like a fucking in-your-face gay activist? And for that, I applaud him. I applaud him.
Baby, come in there, not even with matches, just blow torch.
Oh, my God. I just wish the song was better.
That is the new meaning to we're here, we're queer, get used to it.
Oh, my God.
Listen, the video alone, people will like the song because they will watch the video enough and what he's saying. It's one of those things where, you know, listen, if the music's not for us, you know what I mean? This is young people, and this is it's along that vibe of shit that they love and they're listening to. So it's not even meant for our ears to even listen to.
But are they honestly? I mean, because everybody across the board loved Old Town Road because it appealed to people on different kind of. I mean, all
but that also had that novelty song.
No. That's what I'm saying.
You can't even predict that, and that becoming that kind of a thing, you know.
But I don't know whether musically, age-wise, it's not playing into any of the current trends in hip hop. So I don't know whether.
No, but it does for these young kids and the sound that they're listening to. It works for them and his fans and those young queer kids. They love him and they love this. Right. And I was speaking to two of my friends over the weekend and I was like, I don't know if I love the song, and they were both like, I really love the song. So it's one of those taste things. You either love it.
No. I'm just saying that the average hip hop fan, I'm just saying I can't imagine like the high school kids that I work with going, wow, you know, this.
Yeah, but he wasn't one of their guys anyway.
Yes, he was.
Old Town Road was that kind of a song. That didn't make him one of those guys. That's just one of those songs that you can't predict that it's going to happen like that. You know what I mean? It's like you just can't predict it. It's like the explosion happened, and really what helped was the fact that the story of it charting on Country, then Country booting it out, and so everybody got behind him because it's like, well, why are you kicking the black boy up the Country chart when the song is being played there? So and then remember, then next thing you know, there was 500 million remixes.
No. All I'm saying is that I heard people singing that song, humming and singing and coming out of radios. What I'm saying is, on a strictly musical, the trends in hip hop thing, he's never going to be a drill artist, obviously.
I feel like what you're saying is not correct. If you hear if you're hearing some of this young new hip hop, it sounds just like what he's doing on this record. It does. You know, there's all these young artists that like, man, there's so many, like, I speak to my nephews and my godkids, and they tell me all of this shit, and these people that I've never even heard of, and they play me the records, and they all sound like the same person.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
It's the YouTube artist. It's the shit that we don't know, Amy, because
I
come across our shit.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm just saying that for me, it's not like a great song musically, and it's lyrically kind of like whatever, but he's made his impact. He's done what he needs to do.
Absolutely.
He has altered the conversation, and at its heart, pop music, pop culture, and I'm not saying that in terms of pop music, the genre, popular culture, pop music, youth culture, part of its job is to shake shit up, and he has done that.
Oh, you gotta shake the fucking ground, man.
And he has done that in an era where, so if there's a lesson we can learn about this, people don't freak out when they see every part of your body pierced. People don't freak out if you have tattoos. People don't freak out if you're a bigamist or if you're any kind of whatever. People will freak out when you play with the devil. And it's good to know that that's still, except for the Jews and the Buddhists and everybody else. We don't give a fuck. It's like, play with the devil, baby. Do whatever the fuck you want to do.
But the thing that's funny is, with those people being upset, I'm like, well, that's what y'all keep saying to us. You're burning in hell. So he gave you a visual picture of all of the shit that you guys say, and you're like, how dare you?
Right. No, I know. It's the pearl clutching. It's a never-ending pearl clutching.
Don't you love it? It's so
I love the never-ending pearl. Well,
what did you say? What did you say? You said this made WAP look like what?
Oh, yeah. It made WAP look like, Kids Bop.
Right. When we just thought that, well, nothing's going to top that video of nastiness. Oh. The devil?
Yeah.
Wait. The devil in S&M gear?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot. To quote from the great Courtney M. Anderson, it's a whole situation.
It's a whole motherfucking situation.
It's a whole fucking situation. All right. So in keeping with our cross-marketing, it really doesn't matter about the music. It matters about the coin and the exploitation. So we'll talk a little bit about the devil shoe. Or, as I like to call it, who will save your soul, S-O-L-E. See what I did there?
I will say this. When I first saw the picture of him in the shoe, I thought Nike had lost it. I was like, did Nike do a shoe that is a limited edition of 666 and have human blood in it?
No, they did not do that. Angelina Jolie is not working for Nike.
And evidently other people thought so too, and they are, and Nike's a tad upset.
I don't blame them. You know what? Honestly, if you want to be creative, seriously creative, I mean, first of all, there's no reason to fuck with Nike.
But they had no problem with the company customized and made the Jesus shoe.
No, they did. The point is that you need to be creative and design your own shoe. You can't have it both ways, the guys who designed the shoe.
But the customization of big brand sneakers is a big business that's been around a long time. Your son works in shoes. That's a big business, and customization has been around. The problem for me was, I'm like, okay, if you're going to play with the devil thing and stuff, you kept their swoosh and everything so intact that it looks like a Nike shoe.
No, customization is not appropriation. You can put whatever. People customize shoes all the time. There's Basquiat shoes. There's everything. Right. You can't have it both ways. You can't claim that it's an independent creative project and literally take everything that is trademarked Nike and then go, oh, really? You thought it was a Nike shoe? How could you? Really? Because there's a swoosh and it says Nike and it's our patented Air Max, a patented thing. That is a patent, the Air Max. So far be it for me to defend multinational corporations, but it's like taking an Oreo cookie and calling it an Oreo cookie, and then you can't do that. You either go totally independent. You can't do that. You just can't. And no, I don't blame Nike. I don't blame Nike for being pissed at all.
I thought it was a Nike shoe, and I thought they had lost their fucking mind.
I was like,
Nike has a shoe branded for Satan in a limited edition of 666 with a drop of human. Like, what the fuck is going on? I really thought they had lost their mind.
Me too.
I was like, well, okay, now we've done something that even I'm like, okay. And y'all, I'm not one of those people. I'm like, you like it? I love it.
Do whatever the fuck you want. I
But
literally.
that to me seemed like some other level shit.
No, that was just some other level shit. And honestly, had I been talking to my son during the 2 days, and that's a whole nother story, I would have been, what the fuck is going on over there? Yeah, so,
like my friends know, like, I don't fuck with tarot. No, I'm like, don't come in here with a tarot card. Don't
really?
No.
Oh, I love the tarot.
No.
I love the tarot. You know that I have an I Ching symbol tattooed on my side. I have an I Ching symbol. I love that stuff. I love that stuff.
You're no longer. We're doing this show remotely forever now. That's
no. I'm not reading. Listen, I'm not reading the tarot cards. But back in the day, Candace and I, whenever we travel, she would because she reads tarot really well. Yeah. And I've had tarot. I'm open and I Ching readings and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I don't consider that witchy poo. I consider that guidance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it much anymore, but I do. I have no problem with that at all, because I've had some readings that are like, holy moly. That's why I have the I Ching symbol. I'm not like an NBA player. I actually researched it. It doesn't say beef with broccoli on my side. I know what it means. I actually have the symbol for moderation on my hip.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever we'd throw the I Ching, I would always get moderation, and I obviously was not practicing moderation. So, but anyway, all right. Anyway, Lil Nas X not so hot with the shoe.
I mean, we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see with Nike with these lawsuits if it works or not.
I think they're going to win. I think it's a blatant copyright infringement.
Well, the thing is, the resale market, they bought the shoes and they do their resale thing, and that's a big market. But that has implications for a whole bunch of other shit, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, you don't have a problem with this one. So it could be like, is it because Nike is getting pressure from the evangelicals and religious organizations who are not believing that they didn't have anything to do with the shoe? I mean, you know.
Listen, if you and I, and then we'll move. If you and I, who are intelligent, cultural, well-read, open-minded people, if our first instinct was like, what the what? This is a bridge too far. Only because do the shoe, do a fucking Satan shoe, do an entire Satan line. Yeah. I don't care, but you can't appropriate somebody's.
Yeah, I feel like if you were going to do a Satan shoe with some Nike stuff, you had to change that swoop and do something.
Yeah, this is not.
You made it too. It literally looked like a new Nike human blood.
Yeah, this is not a Dapper Dan Gucci thing. This is very, very different. And whatever.
You know what I love with the new young kids, and then we can change the subject, where it's just like they don't feel like other people. They want to create their art, but when they want something as part of other people's art, because there's been a couple of things lately. It's like Dogface feeling like, you know, he's mad that Stevie Nicks is blocking him from being able to. Was it an NFT? He's trying to create an NFT for, you know, the 15-second OSHA spray skating video, and she's blocking for the music, and it's like, she didn't even thank me and all this. It's like, listen, she's Stevie Nicks, she's a legend. You need to thank her. You were living in a trailer. Now you have a home, and you have people, as you like to say, because of that song. But she did not need you to make Dreams famous. Dreams was always famous. Great at return to the chart, but it's always one of those songs that is always being played someplace. But this thing where you feel like you can just own someone else's art because it's part of your art. It's like you can't just say, well, I customized your sneaker, but I didn't change it enough, but it's my right to do it. It's like you can't just take somebody else's shit and be like, I own this piece of it. You don't.
I mean, that's something maybe we should discuss on a whole, but what I was going to say is that because of the internet and because of the whole idea of ownership, it's wide open. It's the same reason why students don't understand that plagiarism is not copy and pasting is plagiarism. There's a whole different sense of ownership now. So
it's so weird. It's like okay, great. You got a lot of money off of Dreams, of her work. Be happy.
Well, that's a whole stupid thing anyway.
It's but it's a mentality.
No, it's
a mentality.
That's what I'm saying. There's a self-absorbed selfishness in some of the generation who thinks just because I want it, I can have it. No. But I really, I mean, we could go. You can have it. You just have to pay for it. You can have it. You can have whatever you want. It's like hip hop. You do have to pay for it. You know, you can have it. It's yours, but don't be a dick. You know?
Right.
Don't be a dick. That's our motto. Don't be a dick. All right. Speaking of someone who, go. Yeah.
Hold on. Did you, so transitioning to, did you watch Genius, Aretha Franklin?
No, I did not. I could make it through 10 minutes before I started getting a headache, and I need to watch it. No, I honestly, the first 10 minutes, I was like, and I'm not saying, because obviously I want to watch it, but I'm like,
the shade of you is
no,
so
it's
terrible.
not shade. It's not shade. It's not shade at all. It's an honest opinion formed on years of intelligence and critical analysis. I watched it, and I was like, what's going on in this first 10 minutes? It felt chaotic. It felt amateurish, and I do want to see it because it has gotten a lot of press. It is not Lifetime. It's National Geographic, for fuck's sake. It's legitimate. I do want to see it. I've read really, you know, the reviews I've read have been Cynthia Erico is brilliant, but the story is ridiculous. And the family did not give its approval, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Family,
no, but
we know.
The thing, but see, the family, they did speak to people in their life. It's National Geographic. The family didn't give their approval because the family is, you know, they sanctioned the movie. So they didn't want anything competing with the
Jennifer Holiday movie.
Jennifer Hudson.
Hudson, right.
And let's just be real. Aretha Franklin, we love Aretha and is a legend, but Aretha definitely liked to frame her life a certain way. And her life wasn't the truth. So the family's trying to be like, no, because that's not the version of the story they want to tell. Remember when David Ritz wrote
that book, she shut it down.
First wrote the version he was writing with her, and they put it out, but she took out all of the real stuff and they made some other version that he hated. And then 10 years later, he finished speaking to her family, put out the book with the interviews he did with her and then the family stuff, and she never spoke to him again. But because she didn't want that truth out there. Now, did I love the story? At times, no. I feel like it got better as it went on. Absolutely. But I thought the performance was great. I thought Cynthia Erivo was great. I think she's great. I thought David Cross was great. You know, the performance. Oh,
he played Ahmet Ertegun?
Yeah, and the performances were great. You know?
Somebody said that he didn't have the right ears, literally, the physical ears for Ahmet Ertegun.
The guy who played Clive Davis fucking sounded just like Clive Davis. It was really eerie how he had his voice. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Aretha, as is her wont, was always litigious and always wanted to paint a very different picture. And, you know, to be fair, or to take, no pun intended, devil's advocate, it's her right, it's her life. If she doesn't want to make it public knowledge that there may or may not have been sexual abuse in the family, she doesn't have to. We can still appreciate her without knowing private information, which is a beautiful segue into the Tina.
Well, hold on. I just want to say one thing. This is, if people haven't seen it and you watch it on demand, why I recommend it.
It's on Hulu. It's on Hulu now.
Why I recommend it is most of the time when you talk about Aretha Franklin, people, and they do anything Aretha, they play the same songs from the same period. And because there was a movie being made at the same time, the movie, you know, and it was a family, they took all of the songs you would expect them to take. So that the music and the songs that they used in this selection and the albums and the things that they talk about is a lot of the music that they don't really play and talk about with Aretha that, you know, some were hits, some weren't. But it's a really good musical selection that they picked. So for that alone, I think people should watch it just so you'll maybe go into some of those albums that weren't hits and find those gems.
The Columbia years.
Well, not even the Columbia years, the Atlantic years, because they go into You. They talk about, you know, Sparkle. Sparkle was a hit, but nobody ever talks about Sparkle in any of that. They go into Amazing Grace, and then they even went into Jump to It and Get It Right and Arista. All of the stuff that whenever they do Aretha, you know, it's always, when they go later, they go to Freeway of Love and Jimmy Lee, and earlier it's always Respect and Do Right Woman and all of that. Now, Tina.
All right, I have to give a full disclaimer. Okay. I have always, obviously, I think Tina Turner is a monumental singer, and a monumental presence. And I nominated her for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah. I am voting for her for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for several reasons. But I've never been like a knee-jerk Tina Turner fan. I've always been, I thought some of the stuff that's the hits, the bigger hits, are kind of like arena rock. And if it wasn't her, they would be like, songs. Not all of them, but I don't, but this is a beautifully done documentary. And, what's really quite, well, there's several things that are moving about it. I mean, first off, we see her. We're seeing this coming out of her mouth. And she is sort of a swan song, this. But it's also, we all know this story, and yet somehow they found a way to tell it that seemed different or seemed very honest. And there's a lot of things to discuss as to why we keep having to tell the fucking Ike story as her story. But I thought it was beautifully done. It didn't feel like it was bought and paid by the record company or the family, which is good because the family was involved. How Oprah manages to insinuate herself into everything is beyond my comprehension. But I thought about you. I thought about that scene. I thought about that scene.
I saw her this morning. She was standing inside the deli counter next to the egg salad, inserting herself. That's how much that she inserts herself into everything.
I swear to God, Courtney, I thought of you in that scene in the documentary where the Broadway play opens up and Tina's walking down the aisle of the theater with her husband, and Oprah's holding up her other arm. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Are you the daughter she never knew she had? Go away, Oprah.
Right.
So I thought, but I think it's beautifully done. I was welling up at the end. I think it's beautifully done.
Let me just tell you something. You smile.
Yeah.
And you cry in this Tina doc. There's so much she didn't say. Right?
Yeah.
And there's so much that we still don't know, which I love, like you said, very, very private. You know, there's always been all these rumors about her health, no mention. You know, her son committed suicide a couple of years ago, no mention. But the thing about the Ike part that really made sense this time was she was really telling the story like her complete life. She was giving her fans, this was like her husband said, the play in this documentary is it.
That's it.
It's the closure. That's it. That's it.
And that's all we should want from her.
And first of all, it was just beautiful. First of all, the pictures of her really young.
Oh God.
And we had never seen her that young that way.
I know.
But the one that got me that I loved, the picture I loved the most, is the picture when we finally see her without her wig.
Yeah, right?
And she looked so beautiful, and her hair was just there, and you were like, oh my God, it's Tina.
No, she's beautiful. And I will say, Beyonce should be getting down on her hands and knees and thanking God or whoever that Tina Turner came on.
But she's a very big Tina Turner fan and has a lot of reverence for Tina Turner.
Yeah, but she
absolutely has a lot of reverence for Tina.
No, I know, but Tina Turner is just, like I said, never been.
It's not even just Beyonce, everybody. Because Tina Turner was, until the day she retired, Tina Turner was filling arenas in the U.S. and stadiums everywhere else in the world. Until the day where she gave the kids that one last tour. She was like, I'm doing it one last time, so if you haven't seen me, come see me. First of all, my mom and dad have been taking me to concerts since I was little. The first concert I absolutely remember was the Tina Turner private dancer tour.
Oh, wow, cool.
Me and my mother at Madison Square Garden, and it was amazing. And I've seen Tina several times, and it's just like, it's so transformative, a Tina Turner concert. She's so amazing. Those songs, and you just dance, you come out of there sweaty, and she's just giving like just rock goddess. Tina Turner, to me, is somebody who my mother loved, and that passed down to me in generations. All my friends in Europe worship the ground she walks on. And, you know, I just love her catalog, and I just love her. I just love her. I can't even think of anything else to say other than how much I absolutely love Tina Turner.
And like I said, I think she's an amazing singer, and it pains me in some ways to say that I did like her material when she was with Ike, and I'm not I don't,
well,
you
listen,
know.
she didn't shy away from having those good songs. She just didn't want to, she was in an abusive marriage, but
No.
they had great songs when they
had great songs, but I thought that, I just think that, it's a really great documentary. It frames it in an interesting way. It does, without going too deep into it, it does make us question why women are constantly tied to their abusers. She's like, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. Oh, let's talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. She needed a Beyonce or Madonna level publicist who would just shut that shit down immediately. But that's one of the reasons why I think she will definitely get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not because, obviously the body of work is unparalleled, but because I think there needs to be a recognition that this is a woman who stood on her own and was a bigger star without Ike Turner, who also had his genius, who I saw perform, and it was amazing, who also got screwed. And I'm kind of glad. I'm not justifying his behavior at all, believe me.
I was glad that he won his Grammy. Listen, all of the years later, and what does she talk about? Forgiveness.
Well, but I'm glad that they also, and I'm not forgiving anything that he did, justifying, but I am glad that there was a mention made of the racism and the what happened to him, that he never got credit. He invented rock and roll. He invented rock and roll. He is widely credited as the guy who invented it. So, but it's a great documentary. It's on HBO, right? That's where it is?
Yes, HBO Max, I believe,
Whatever. So get your friends to give you their password. You want to talk a little bit? So when we saw this, it kind of brought up that whole kind of, the whole genre of the biopic and the documentary and stuff. So, we were kind of, cause we're both fans of both and they're kind of different. Definitely. So you want to start and then we'll go back and forth. You kind of name a biopic or a doc that you really dig and,
well, the first one that I really, really dig is from 1984 and it's called Yoko Ono Now and Then.
You're kidding, right?
No, I'm not kidding.
Oh.
And it's a documentary.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be mean, but
it's a personal narrative story, and it has a lot of the songs of her and John Lennon, and I love Walking on Thin Ice, and this is kind of a period of her life during that time and making music and just that whole period, and it's a really interesting look at her. I think her as a I like Yoko Ono. I think that she's a weird sort of abstract artist, and I'm into her weirdness. I like her songs. I know she can't sing. It's an acquired taste. But I like people who do interesting shit and have something to say, and this was just an interesting look into that kind of a person that I find interesting.
Okay. Okay. So I had let me start, all right, so 24-Hour Party People, which came out in 2002. So it's not a biopic because there's a lot of sort of embellishment. It's not a documentary. It's sort of somewhere in between. It was directed by Michael Wintenberg, who did all the Trip movies. He's a really interesting, weird director. And it's about basically Tony Wilson and the creation of Factory Records and the Hacienda, which in the early 90s was the biggest music it's Joy Division, New Order, Happy Mondays, In Spiral Carpets, down the line, just great music. It's about the birth of punk rock and this birth of this scene that made Manchester, which was a very uncool city, cool. And because of this scene, you'd end up getting, Oasis, you end up getting, Primal Scream, all these great bands. Anyway, it stars, so there are some of the real people in it, but it's basically somewhat fictionalized, and it stars Steve Coogan, who I love in a very twisted, weird way, because he's a twisted, weird guy, but he's very funny, and it's very reverent towards the music. So, and when it came out, I saw it in the movie theater, and I was the only person in the movie theater. It was the last show on the last day at the Brooklyn Academy of Music, and I'm like, wow, I have never been the only person in a movie theater.
I was the only person in the movie theater when I went to see Glitter.
Well, it makes sense.
Well, no, because remember, Glitter opened the Friday after 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
And I was so scared and freaked out about everything. I was like, let me just go to the movies, maybe to help. And I spent the entire time sitting in the movie theater thinking, is it going to blow up? That was really crazy. But then I was watching what was happening on the screen, and I was like, I don't know what's worse.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so 24 Hour Party People has a great soundtrack.
It has a great soundtrack, yeah.
And I actually saw Happy Mondays perform in Wolverhampton, England, opening up for Stereo MCs. And when you tell British people that you were in Wolverhampton, they look at you and go, why?
Why were you in Wolverhampton?
Because Stereo MCs were playing there, and I was doing a story on Stereo MCs. And Happy Mondays were, bless their hearts, still high as a kite. Yeah. All right, next. Oh, Stereo MCs, we'll have to, that's an undersung band, but that's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole other show, yeah.
All right, what's your next one?
Well, my next one, first of all, I just have to shout out to the OG, my favorite, which is Truth or Dare. Truth or Dare, to me, the OG, that's my favorite. Shout out Truth or Dare. My next one is Bloodlight and Bammy. It is the Grace Jones documentary by Sophie Fine, and it came out in 2017. And what I love about a Grace Jones doc is you try to figure, what would the approach be to that? How would you tell her story? Well, it's cinema verite style, so there is no story. It's filmed over the course of, I believe, 10 years. They filmed footage she shot, and intercut with a Grace Jones concert. But it's just how she lives, you know what I mean? And it's insightful because when I think of Grace Jones, I really just think of her as this woman, and I love her and I love her music. But I think there's all these myths about her, like she's this alien or she's this creature or she's this man-eater. And what you just see is this woman who lives her life. She loves her kids. She loves her grandkids. She loves her mom. Going back home to Jamaica and being real simple life, and then, you know, being in Paris and being in her hotel, and she's very Grace Jones, eating, shucking oysters, drinking champagne, topless with just panties on in a fur coat, you know, in like this fabulous suite. And you're just like, it's just insight. I love a story that's not really a story. It's just like an insight into someone's life. And that, to me, that is a great way to do a Grace Jones doc. Like for most people, it might not be enough action for you because it's not like there's a million high points for you. Like, then this happened, you know, but it is, to me, if you love Grace Jones, you absolutely should watch it because it's just great insight to this woman and watching her in the recording studio and just seeing her as the person that she is.
I'm going to double up, if it's okay with you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to first mention, and it's an obvious choice, but Amy, still one of the.
I have not seen that.
Oh, I was a consultant on that, Courtney.
You were?
Yes, honestly, I was.
Oh, now I'm definitely going to watch it.
Yeah, I'm in the director's cut. They don't show anybody's No, they don't show anybody's faces.
No, but I want to see your name in the credits. You know, I like seeing my friends' names in the credits. I
believe I am. I'm not, but the point is that I was interviewed for it because I had done a lot of, I saw her first American concert, and then I interviewed her. She didn't do a lot of interviews because she didn't live very long. That movie, I saw, and the guy who did the movie, and whose name I'm going to say, is a great documentary maker, because what he does is he doesn't put the famous people in it. You hear their voices, they're telling the story. Anyway, it's I mean, even we know how it ends and you're still in tears. It makes an amazing case for her as an artist, not as a train wreck, not as a wreck. And when it won the Oscar, I was like, I'm Oscar adjacent. So I love that movie. And the other movie I'm going to mention is called Beside Bowie, and it came out in 2017, and it's a documentary about Mick Ronson, who I always thought Mark Ronson was his child, and was deeply disappointed when I found out he wasn't. No diss to Mark Ronson, but I was like, oh my God, Mick Ronson.
It would have made you so much more interesting.
Yeah, it really was. So I like Mark Ronson a lot as a person and a producer. Mick Ronson he first came to fame as the guitarist in the Spiders from Mars, very, looked like a rock star. I mean, really good looking with that incredible hair and stuff like that, but he was so much more than that. He is never given full credit for producing, Lou Reed's Transformer. He really did the majority of the work on that. He did a lot of the stuff uncredited. David Bowie, obviously, is a great performer, but Mick Ronson, on the low, did a lot of the stuff that Bowie is given credit for, including the Spiders from Mars. A lot of that was Mick Ronson. So it's a really great documentary. It's a look at someone who is very much appreciated and undersung, available on Amazon, I believe. And I'm someone who knows a lot about music, and I was like, wow, I didn't know this. I didn't know that. So it's a really great documentary. He also was very instrumental in Mott the Hoople's comeback. So beside Bowie. Okay, next, you.
I'm going to have to give a special shout out to Sign of the Times, even though that's really more of a concert film. It's I'm not a concert film person really, but I loved Sign of the Times. You can watch that 20 million times. This one is going to come, it's a small screen number. It's Ken Burns' Country. Oh. I thought Ken Burns' series on country music was phenomenal.
I've heard that's like his best one. I have to watch it. Yeah.
First of all, I grew up on country music. My mom was from North Carolina. In the car, in her car, in my dad's car, it was BLS, we could KT the song. In my mom's car, country music only. And so I just grew up with all of these artists. So it just took me to a place, and there was so much I didn't know, and it's just excellent. If you haven't seen it, even if you don't love country music, if you're a person who knows nothing about country music,
right,
it is done so well.
Yeah, I heard
that you will really get into it, and you will just keep going from spot to spot in the spot and find a new appreciation, and might even find some new artists to listen to that you didn't even know, because it's really, really done well. And to me, it is his best. It's absolutely his best.
No, I've heard it's great. I'm going to double up again just in terms of expediency. So I know you have an allergic reaction to this woman, but I have to say that this is a great movie, El Cantante, which came out in 2006, it's a great movie, Courtney, and she's really good in it. I got to give her that. So this is Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony, who, in my opinion, has one of the great voices ever of any genre. To me, there are like 5 singers that dominate their field. He is one of them. It is a biopic about the late Hector Lavoe, who was a hugely influential salsa singer who died of AIDS very early on in the AIDS crisis. He was a heroin addict. It's very well done. It's told through the perspective of his wife, who is played by Jennifer Lopez. It's sort of shot in a cinema verite style. It's just really good. It's also, you kind of get the history of South Soul Orchestra. You get a real primer course on the New York City salsa scene, which is where salsa was kind of invented, which was New York City, the New Yorker, the conflict between being a New York Puerto Rican and being a Puerto Rican born in Puerto Rico. And Mark Anthony is fantastic in it. I mean, he embodies the pain, and of course, he's just a gorgeous, gorgeous singer. And the other one I'm going to mention is New York Doll, which came out in 2005, which is a documentary about Arthur Killer Kane, who was the bass player in the New York Dolls, who died quite young, and became a Mormon in his later life.
How many of them are alive still?
David Johansen.
He's the only one.
Yeah, Sylvain died a few months ago. They've all passed away. Johnny Thunders died in when did Johnny die? Early aughts, I believe. Billy Murcia, the original drummer, Jerry Nolan, died a few years ago. So Arthur Killer Kane, it's called New York Doll. And what's fascinating about it, to me, what makes a really interesting documentary, if you can take a topic that's not well known or and make it like you learn something. And this is sort of framed around Morrissey, who, is a disgusting human being, obviously, but Morrissey, who's a huge New York Dolls fan, bringing the Dolls back together, reuniting them for a festival in England. But and having to convince Arthur Killer Kane to be part of the reunion. At this point, Arthur had become a devout Mormon and given up his previous lifestyle. And what's also cool about this movie, it was made on a budget of like $4. And so the director manages he uses all these really cost-efficient methods, like instead of showing flashbacks and stuff because he can't do it, he literally uses a timeline, and he writes out a timeline to say what it is. So that's a really, really a really, really cool movie. So it's and a very illuminating about a man's transformation. Yeah, so it's called New York Doll. Again, available on Amazon, Netflix. What else you got?
I really love I Was There When House Music Took Over the World. And it's a documentary that was produced for Channel 4 in London, and I believe you can see it on YouTube. And it's just talking about the start of house music and all of the DJs and the producers in New York versus Chicago and the whole
What's it called?
scene. I was there when house music
I
took
thought
over
you were
the world.
I thought you were saying I was there, Courtney Anderson, when house music, because you know, Courtney, you know, you do like to toot your own horn a little bit.
Well,
so I was like,
listen,
I was the one who said, you know what, not really nice garage. What do you call it? Paradise Garage.
You know what? Listen, I just happen to be around for some pivotal shit.
I understand.
Ask you to tell you my story one day about the Nas video. Like,
right.
I have so many things. So many things have happened. One day I'm going to write a musical about my life and just sing it all.
Oh, bless your heart. All right.
In
so that
French.
sounds cool. That sounds cool. I'm going to wrap it up with, were you done with that? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, child.
Okay. All right. I'm going to wrap up with two ones. An obvious one, but one I love, Sid and Nancy by Alex Cox. Gary Oldham's probably his first big breakthrough role. Chloe Webb played Nancy Spungen. It's just so fucking dead on. It's just so dead on. Again, it sums up a moment in time in music, a moment in time in New York. The performances are just absolutely gorgeous. They're both great, but Gary Oldham is just like embodies Sid. And this is, again, super obvious, but I can't forget it. Amazing Grace, the concert film.
Yeah.
By Aretha Franklin, which, talking about Aretha's litigious, controlling ways, she never wanted release for some reason.
Because the way it was shot, the audio never could sync right. And she just would not, the audio wouldn't sync right. And after she died, with all of the new technology, they were able to do some sort of digital process where they finally got the audio to sync, and that is why the family approved it finally to come out. Oh, I gotta
wait, can I just finish real quick about this? It was directed by Sidney Pollack. It was one of his first and basically Amazing Grace is the making of the Amazing Grace album, her explosive gospel record, and it's set in a small church in James Cleveland's church in L.A. and she just sings, and one of the great scenes is when Mick Jagger and Charlie Watts just walk into the audience, nobody even knows who the fuck they are, and just sit there and watch her. So, great movie. I'm sorry.
I gotta throw a bone out to Coal Miner's Daughter.
Oh, please. More than a bone.
Let me tell you something. When you talk about listen, if you're gonna do a docudrama movie or biopic of someone's life, I mean, and then you have Sissy Spacek, who decides, I'm going to sing the songs, and she sounds amazing, and Beverly D'Angelo is singing the Patsy Cline songs, and she sounds amazing. It's like, well, all right.
Yeah.
well, right.
And Levon Helm.
So good.
Everything. So good. It's so good.
Classic.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it was like it pays complete homage. It has people who are believable in that you can sit there and go, yeah, I can see that.
Tommy Lee Jones is
fantastic.
Is great.
And I have a thing for, Levon Helm is one of the class acts ever. He plays her dad. It's a fantastic movie. Yeah, that's a good one to go out on. All right. Is there anything else that, anything else there mentioned?
Right. You know how we do. First of all, can I just say, I don't know why I woke up feeling like a Lilith Fair lesbian this morning.
Ew.
I've already this morning played Suzanne Vega, Joni Mitchell.
Well, all right. Neither one of those are lesbians on Lilith Fair.
No, but
I want to hear you play stuff from Olivia Records. Then we'll know you've gone over the deep end.
What's Olivia Records?
Ah ha 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 ha! Ah ha 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 ha! Ha ha ha! Courtney, Google it.
But that sounds like a lesbian record.
It is like
because it's always something like, why is always something like Olivia?
No,
you ever notice? I will say this.
You need
to all my black gay friends. How come we always all of our lesbian friends are named Cheryl,
All right, listen. Google Olivia Records. Olivia Records was a huge women with a Y own label in San Francisco. Hugely influential. But Google it.
Actually, it sounds familiar now that you're not.
Come back, Holly Near. Come back to me. We'll talk lesbian then. That is like. That label was so lesbianic that you, Courtney, would start sleeping with women after it. But
well, I have slept with a woman before, so that's not some, foreign situation, lady.
I'm not having that discussion with you right now. I haven't eaten enough today to have that visual or that discussion. I was in college like everybody else. Yeah, I experimented in college. Yeah, I didn't go to college until 10 years ago, so I don't have that excuse. All right, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah. What's it? Who are we?
Who are we? Why are we?
We are. This is show 41, kids. We are 41 years old.
We're in our 40s.
Yeah. So if you like what you hear, and we know that you do. Follow us on Facebook at ImmaLetYouFinish, all one word, on Twitter at FinishImma, and on IG at ImmaLetYouFinish NY. And you're listening to us, so you follow us on Stitcher or Apple or Spotify. Remember, leave a review, rate the show, review us, rate us, leave reviews, rate us. Tell your friends, follow Listening Party Presents on IG, and we'll see you next week for some more fuckery that's unnecessary in your life, but for some reason you want it. Happy Holy Week.
Happy Holy Week to everybody.
Happy Passover. Happy Easter. Happy.
That's it. I think we're done. I think that's all. Holy HOLI was already this week.
That was yes. Okay. Cool.
We missed everybody. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.